Guys, what is up? We are back with season 2 of the Hunger Games, and I said I would randomize how many districts there were and how many people in each district, but only up to 4 and 14 districts. So let's read them off. So in District 1, we got Zambia, Armenia, Comoros, Trinidad, and Tobago. And in District 2, we got Belgium, Gabon, India, and Spain. In District 3, we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Marshall Islands, and what I thought was funny is that he actually looks like a Marshall. And then District 3, we have Iran and Chad. In District 4, we have Paraguay and Gambia. In Cote d'Ivoire, Bosnia, and Herzegovina. And in District 5, we got Georgia, Ireland, South Sudan, Tuvalu. In District 6, we got Argentina, Singapore, Angola, France. In District 7, we got Antigua and Barbuda, Greece, Denmark, and Somalia. And if you guys don't remember in last season, Serbia was a winner. And once we get a number of winners, we will have an all-star season, not just one episode of All-Stars, an all-star season. So let's get on with season 2 of the Hunger Games. The Bloodbath. As the tributes stand on their podium, the horn sounds. Trinidad and Tobago run away from the cornucopia. Greece grabs a shovel. Gambia snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Gabon runs away from the cornucopia. Antigua and Barbuda runs away from the cornucopia. Ireland runs away from the cornucopia. Iran bashes Spain's head in with a mace. India grabs a jar of fishing bait while Marshall Islands gets fishing gear. Argentina runs away from the cornucopia. St. Vincent and the Grenadines stay at the cornucopia for resources. Armenia runs into the cornucopia and hides. Angola severely slices Chad with a sword. Tuvalu repeatedly stabs Georgia to death with scythes. Cote d'Ivoire scares Somalia away from the cornucopia. South Sudan takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. France retrieves a trident from inside the cornucopia. Denmark runs away from the cornucopia. Zambia runs away from the cornucopia. Belgium takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. Comoros snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Bosnia and Herzegovina grabs a shovel leaning on the cornucopia. Paraguay snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Singapore grabs a sword. Day 1. Gambia poisons Greece drink. She drinks it and dies. Marshall Islands scares Paraguay off. Comoros chases Denmark. Singapore fishes. Zambia attacks Gabon, but he manages to escape. Armenia collects fruit from a tree. Iran diverts Angola's attention and runs away. France searches for a water source. Belgium explores the arena. Bosnia and Herzegovina shot an arrow into India's head. Antigua and Barbuda makes a slingshot. South Sudan steals from Argentina while he isn't looking. Tuvalu receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Trinidad and Tobago diverts Cote d'Ivoire attention and runs away. Somalia stalks Ireland. St. Vincent and the Grenadines receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Fallen tributes. 5 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Spain, Chad, Georgia, Greece, India. Night 1. Belgium bashes Zambia's head in with a mace. Marshall Islands receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Armenia, Somalia, Denmark, and Ireland sleep in shifts. St. Vincent and the Grenadines receive fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Paraguay screams for help. France receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. South Sudan begs for Singapore to kill her. She reluctantly obliges killing South Sudan. Antigua and Barbuda, Angola, and Trinidad and Tobago sleep in shifts. Iran and Bosnia and Herzegovina sleep in shifts. Comoros looks at the night sky. Gambia climbs a tree to rest. Argentina is woken by nightmares. Gabon defeats Tuvalu in a fight but spares his life. Cote d'Ivoire screams for help. Day 2. Antigua and Barbuda receive medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Marshall Islands, Armenia, the Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Angola raid Iran's camp while she's hunting. Tavula tries to sleep through the entire day. Somalia steals from Ireland while he isn't looking. Gambia, Argentina, France, Paraguay, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines hunt for other tributes. Singapore camouflages herself in the bushes. Trinidad and Tobago sees smoke rising in the distance but decide not to investigate. Comoros discovers a river. Cote d'Ivoire dies from thirst. Belgium fishes. Gabon steals from Denmark while he isn't looking. 3 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Zambia, South Sudan, and Cote d'Ivoire. Night 2. Armenia attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Iran attempts to climb a tree but falls on Trinidad and Tobago, killing them both. Ireland and Argentina talk about the tribute still alive. Paraguay poisons Tuvalu's drink and he drinks it and dies. St. Vincent and the Grenadines kill Marshall Islands while he is sleeping. Gabon climbs a tree to rest. Belgium thinks about winning. Bosnia and Herzegovina begs for Angola to kill her. She refuses, keeping Bosnia and Herzegovina alive. Somalia destroys Gambia's supply while he's asleep. Comoros sets up camp for the night. Singapore and Denmark sleep in shifts. Antigua and Barbuda tend to France's wounds. Day 3. Belgium constructs a shack. Angola steals from Singapore while she isn't looking. Ireland makes a wooden spear. Bosnia and Herzegovina discover a river. Gabon discovers a river. France is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Argentina sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Paraguay injures himself. Gambia tries to sleep through the entire day. Comoros and Denmark work together for the day. Antigua and Barbuda tend to Armenia's wounds. Somalia tends to St. Vincent and the Grenadines' wounds. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Iran, Trinidad and Tobago, Tuvalu, Marshall Islands. Night 3. St. Vincent and the Grenadines kill Bosnia and Herzegovina with a hatchet. France destroys Singapore's supplies while she is asleep. Denmark and Somalia talk about the tributes still alive. Gabon is awoken by nightmares. Argentina tends to Ireland's wounds. Comoros is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Gambia goes to sleep. Paraguay, Angola, Belgium, and Antigua and Barbuda sleep in shifts. Armenia receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. France steals from Argentina while he isn't looking. Belgium scares Gabon off. Singapore chases Ireland. Gambia sprains his ankle while running away from Armenia. Comoros unknowingly eats toxic berries. Denmark thinks about home. Paraguay makes a slingshot. Antigua and Barbuda is unable to convince Angola not to kill him. Somalia kills St. Vincent and the Grenadines with a hatchet. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Comoros, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Argentina dies from an infection. Ireland and Somalia tell stories about themselves to each other. France dies of dysentery. Gabon is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Denmark screams for help. Singapore and Gambia hold hands. Belgium convinces Armenia to snuggle with her. Paraguay tends to Angola's wounds. The feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, and weapons and memoirs from the tribute's family. Paraguay gathers as much food into a bag as he can before fleeing. Gabon, Denmark, and Belgium successfully ambush and kill Armenia, Angola, and Somalia. Singapore takes a staff leaning against the cornucopia. Gambia decides not to go to the feast. Ireland decides not to go to the feast. Day 5. Paraguay stalks Denmark. Ireland receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Belgium steals from Singapore while she isn't looking. Gabon camouflages himself in the bushes. Gambia discovers a river. 5 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Argentina, France, Armenia, Angola, Somalia. Night 5. Gambia attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Paraguay and Singapore talk about the trip who's still alive. Ireland dies from an infection. Denmark climbs a tree and rests. Gabon defeats Belgium in a fight but spares her life. Day 6. Paraguay cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. Gabon searches for firewood. Singapore and Denmark work together for the day. Belgium bleeds out due to untreated injuries. Gambia dies trying to escape the arena. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Ireland, Paraguay, Belgium, and Gambia. And there are 3 still alive. Singapore, Denmark, and Gabon sleep in shifts, even though they're the only 3 alive. Why don't they just kill one another? Singapore attacks Gabon, but he manages to escape. Denmark thinks about home. No cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Night 7. Denmark and Gabon sleep in shifts. Singapore receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Day 8. Denmark steals from Singapore while she isn't looking. Gabon sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. No cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Gabon, Denmark, and Singapore cheerfully sing songs together. Why are they not killing one another? This is getting way too out of hand. Day 9. Denmark is unable to convince Singapore to not kill him. Gabon discovers a river. Finally, they're starting to kill each other. 1 cannon shot can be heard in the distance. Denmark. Night 9. Singapore silently snaps Gabon's neck. Did Singapore just win? I think Singapore did. The winner is Singapore from District 6. Let's see the placements. So, we've got Singapore, Gabon, Denmark, Gambia, Belgium, Paraguay, Ireland, Somalia, Angola, Armenia, France, Argentina. Wow, the other districts got really low places. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Antigua and Barbuda, Comoros, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Trinidad and Tobago, Iran, Cote d'Ivoire, South Sudan, Zambia, India, Greece, Georgia, Chad, and Spain. So those are the placements, and this was the first episode of season 2, and looks like Singapore is the winner and will be competing in the All-Star episode with 28 people, but 27 other people. So this was the beginning of season 2. I hope you guys enjoyed.